Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you at the end of another working week. Anyway, I hope all is well and you're looking forward to the Euros returning tonight. Granit Xhaka in action for Switzerland against Spain, so a little bit of Arsenal interest ahead of, well, for me, the big one tomorrow when England, fingers crossed, can get through against Ukraine in Rome and set themselves up with a semi-final back at Wembley next week. So much to look forward to when it comes to live football over the next couple of days, and a little bit more to talk about when it comes to Arsenal at the moment as well. And I wanted to start today's video on Locatelli, Manuel Locatelli. Obviously, I spoke about him yesterday, about the rumours that were sort of coming out from Italy. This Swallow CEO had been speaking about Arsenal's interest, talked about an official bid. I read the quotes out yesterday, but it was Giovanni at Carnevali said Arsenal made an official bid for Locatelli. They're pushing hard to sign Manuel, and it's an important bid. We will see. Also, Juventus want Locatelli, with a special relationship with them, with a new meeting scheduled with Juve. We are trying to leave the lad calm, so I haven't spoken to him or his agents yet. We can think about Locatelli's future, but above all, we care about his present, and that means Italy doing well at the Euros. Now, Manuel Locatelli, obviously, as he says there, is away at the moment with Italy at the Euros, and he would suggest his future isn't going to be sorted out until after that tournament anyway. So on one hand, you have the Sassuolo CEO there saying that Arsenal have submitted an official bid for the 23-year-old midfielder who's been such a star at Euro 2020 so far. Now, what I understand from sources at Arsenal are pretty much in contradiction to what the Sassuolo CEO said yesterday. I wrote a story after yesterday's video. I got some more information about it, and I posted it in the comments below yesterday's video, just explaining it all. But sources I speak to at Arsenal have denied making an official bid for Manuel Locatelli, but there's definitely interest in him from Arsenal. I've had that confirmed. There has been talks between the two clubs about him. So in those talks, maybe there's been a figure mentioned of what Arsenal would be willing to pay, that sort of thing. And that's maybe what Sassuolo are talking about when they say there's been an official bid from Arsenal. Certainly from Arsenal side of things, from the people I speak to, they say it hasn't. I mean, they might be, trying to throw me off the scent, and there may have been one, but certainly all I can report is what I've been told, and what I've been told from people at Arsenal that I've spoken to is there hasn't been an official bid, but there is interest, and they certainly weren't denying, I didn't have it denied to me that this is something that could happen further down the line when it comes to the transfer window, but at this stage no official offer has gone in. Now, Arsenal are very much aware as well that Juventus in the driving seat for this one. By all accounts, the player wants to move to Juventus. Juventus absolutely want to sign him. It's just a case of getting a deal done that suits both them and Sassuolo, where he currently is at. So Arsenal are very aware that Juventus kind of lead the race at this stage, and pretty much they're in the background waiting to see if they can push the deal through. If they can, Arsenal will move on and look elsewhere. But if they can't, and they can't meet the demands that are being asked for Locatelli, then Arsenal would be willing to come in and see if they can get a deal done for him. So they're very much in the run-in, but they're lagging behind Juventus. And the expectations, certainly from people that I speak to, are Juventus reporter at Goal, Romeo Agresti, is bang on it when it comes to Juventus over there, and he's convinced that it's only a matter of time before Locatelli does sign for Juventus. And that seems to be the general feeling across Italy, that once the Euros is out the way, then Juventus will get a deal done for him. So maybe Arsenal, it looks like, although there is interest in him, they're probably going to end up having a look elsewhere when it comes to bringing in that midfielder to replace Granit Xhaka and be the full-time partner, long-term partner perhaps for Thomas Partey in the heart of the Arsenal midfield. So it looks unlikely on this one for me. Now, if you're going to sit there and say, who are Arsenal going to sign in the central midfield this summer, I don't think I'd be putting all my money on Locatelli. I would say that he's probably going to end up at Juventus, but you never know. Juventus are struggling when it comes to money at the moment, and Sassuolo, given Locatelli's performances in Serie A last season, and then certainly for Italy in the Euros, they're not just going to give him away. They're going to have a price, and Juventus are going to have to meet that one way or the other. Now, there's talk they might kind of do a sort of deal, which they did that took Chiesa there from Fiorentina, which I think was almost like a 2-year loan deal with a obligation to buy at the end of it, and sort of staggered payments and all that sort of stuff to help them get around the fact they don't actually have too much money, and also perhaps they're going to be offering players in part exchange. And So Juventus are working hard to try and come up with some sort of deal that allows them to sign Locatelli, and at the moment Arsenal, it's just a little bit of a waiting game, but the interest is there. We'll have to wait and see if anything comes from it. But that's the latest, as far as I'm aware, and I've been told, on Arsenal and Manuel Locatelli. Ben White. Now, this is one that last night, it seems to be going, I think we were all just kind of waiting for this one to be done at the end of the Euros once Ben White had finished with England, but maybe a little bit of spanner kind of thrown in the works here by Everton. It's been reported last night by a couple of publications. I think Duncan Wright at The Sun wrote it, Matt Hughes at the Mail wrote it, that Everton are now suddenly jumping right firmly in the race to sign Ben White, and potentially about to gazump Arsenal when it comes to a bid for the Brighton midfielder. Now, those two reports saying there hasn't been a bid yet, but Everton have, in talks with Brighton, made it clear that they will be willing to pay above what Arsenal have so far offered to pay for Ben White, £50 million. Those reports saying that Everton are willing to pay with a further £5 million on add-ons, and that certainly is more than what Arsenal have so far offered when it comes to Ben White. As far as I'm aware, they were looking at about £50 million deal. It looked like that was getting closer to being done, with sort of £45 million, then with £5 million in add-ons after their initial offer had been rejected. But suddenly Everton, Rafa Benitez in charge, he apparently really, really wants Ben White. We know that Farhad Moshiri doesn't really mess around when it comes to transfers. He's pretty willing to throw money around, and pretty much in the opposite of Stan Kroenke, really. And so, yeah, if it came to a straight shootout to money, with money when it comes to Arsenal and Everton, you'd probably say that Everton have got a better chance of getting it done. But you would certainly hope that in terms of the sway of the player and where he really wants to go, that you would still think that Arsenal's certainly a much bigger sway for Ben White, who by all accounts has been keen on a move to Arsenal. Personal terms certainly wouldn't be an issue. It's just something Arsenal are going to have to get done if they really want to get him. Yeah, I think they were never going to have a clear run at Ben White this summer. So, yes, the interest has been very high profile when it comes to him. You always felt there might be someone else come knocking. Man United have always been there in the background, mentioned as possible suitors. Obviously, they're trying to get Rafael Varane in at the moment. But you always kind of felt that something was going to happen with Ben White, that if Arsenal, as they didn't wrap up the deal quickly, that something could happen. And lo and behold, it appears that Everton might well now be throwing their hat into the mix when it comes to him. Obviously, he's at the Euros. I've said this time and time again. I kind of felt like this was something that was going to have to wait until the Euros was over, once he'd finished with England, and then it would really sort of move forward in terms of trying to get a deal done for him. Arsenal, you feel have been a little bit slow in closing this one out, and they've given up others the opportunity to come in, perhaps so, but then you also have to say, look, Arsenal have got a price for a player, and if they can't come to some sort of agreement, they can't really go over it. It's like when you're buying a house, isn't it? You kind of set yourself a budget, and if the other person won't come down and you can't meet in the middle, then sometimes you move on. And I'm not saying that's going to happen with Arsenal and Ben White, but it certainly appears like they've got competition for the centre-back, and it would be a big, big blow for Arsenal if they manage to miss out on Ben White, because it's pretty clear that he is a very high priority target for them this summer. They want him to come in and replace David Luiz as the right-sided centre-back. He's got the sort of ball-playing qualities that Mikel Arteta wants. Very young, England international, lots of potential. They felt he was a man to come in and improve things, and sort of someone they can build around for the next few years. If they don't get it done, they're certainly going to be disappointed. You would imagine, you would hope, they've certainly got backup options should they not be able to get Ben White. But maybe you don't really have to talk about that yet. We'll have to wait and see. I think there's still quite a way to run on this one when it comes to Arsenal and Ben White, and perhaps Everton being involved in that as well. So it's one certainly to keep an eye on. So that's the latest when it comes to Ben White. Nuno Tavares, that one's getting very much closer to being done now. Reports over in Portugal saying he had his medical over there yesterday, which I wouldn't be surprised if that is absolutely correct, because last time I spoke to Arsenal about it, it was very unclear where that medical was going to be happening, because there are the COVID issues and the travel issues at the moment. You get the deal done over there, that's it, done and dusted really. If you come over here, then suddenly he's got a quarantine, you can't do the medical straight away. It's all, sort of adding to the length of time to getting that deal done. So if you can get the medical done in Portugal, have that out the way before he travels, then that's certainly going to make it easier and quicker really when it comes to having everything signed off and finalised. Now, those reports in Portugal saying he's flying over today. Once he does arrive, he's going to have to quarantine, perhaps for 5 days. Some people saying 10 days. I don't think it'll be 10 days. My brother's just come in from America, and he only had to quarantine for 5 days. He managed to get an early release and go and do the tests that you needed to do before giving him permission to leave after 5 days, leave his house after 5 days. And I imagine that will be the same for Tavares. I mean, he has been training over in Benfica, so you kind of feel like maybe he was in that elite sports bubble. So again, it wouldn't have to take as much time to being given permission to leave. Now, Arsenal will return for pre-season training next week, and ideally they'd like to have him involved in that if they can. I don't know when the announcement's going to come. It's just going to one we'll have to wait for. When it comes to Tavares, it's not, if it goes 1, 2, 3 days and we haven't heard anything, you don't need to be sending a load of questions in. You don't need to be worrying about it. It's a deal that's going to happen. It's been agreed. Now it looks like the medical has been done. It's going to happen. Tavares is going to be an Arsenal player. It's just a matter of time before that confirmation comes through, and the whole thing like pictures taken at the training ground. Again, if he's gotten a quarantine before and he's not allowed to come to the training ground, then you might have to wait a few days before that, and then the pictures come through. So we'll have to wait and see, but Nuno Tavares will certainly be an Arsenal player and available for Mikel Arteta next season. Euro 2020, spoke about it at the start of this video. Obviously, Granit Xhaka, the first of Arsenal's final 2 players involved. He will play tonight. Fabulous performance. Oh, he won't play tonight. He's suspended. So we're going to have to wait and see if he can continue till the semi-final. Fabulous performance from Granit Xhaka against France. He did get that yellow card, though, that ruled him out of the game. So that is a shame for him. Shame for Switzerland, because he's so important. He's a captain. And you think they need the strongest possible side to get past Spain. I fancy Spain for this one, which absolutely means that Switzerland are going to win, because I think every prediction I've made, from Turkey being the surprise packages and so on, has been spectacularly wrong so far in this tournament. So me saying Spain will win today, it's nailed on. Put your money on Switzerland. They'll end up going through. And if they do, that will mean Granit Xhaka gets his semi-final. If they don't, that will mean he and Switzerland will be going home, and you would expect that will mean that Granit Xhaka's move to Roma will be able to be wrapped up relatively quickly after that, providing Roma pay up the money that Arsenal are demanding, because that hasn't happened yet. They haven't agreed it yet, but you'd imagine the pressure to get that deal done is going to be ramped up once Xhaka is out and not involved at the Euros. Hopefully that won't be right now, because I'd certainly like Switzerland to get past Spain. Just because he's an Arsenal player for now anyway. So good luck to the Swiss tonight. England in action tomorrow, obviously in Rome against Ukraine. Some really interesting quotes here from Luke Shaw on Bukayo Saka. He's just been one of the breakout stars of this tournament, certainly for England. Everyone is a bit of Saka mania sweeping the England camp. Listen to these quotes from Luke Shaw about Bukayo Saka. Honestly, I love him. I would just love it if he was my child. I love him like that. I feel like you could ask anyone in the squad that and they would say the same thing about what a good guy he is. I didn't know him before I came to the camp, and I didn't know what it'd be like, but I've got on with him so well. I would love him to be my brother. He's so cool. He's so funny. He makes everyone laugh. Doesn't even mean it. He's not a loud person, but the way he is and the way he speaks is so funny. Someone like that in the camp is good to have around, and he gets everyone laughing. We all love him and appreciate the way he is. Does anyone not like Bukayo Saka? Seriously, what an absolute legend that kid is. 19 years old, world at his feet. Everyone loves him. Whatever put in front of him, he manages to just pass with flying colours, and fingers crossed tomorrow he can do that with England as well. Will he start? I don't know. I've got a feeling he might have to sit on the bench for this one tomorrow, especially given how Jack Grealish played when he came on for the sort of last half an hour against Germany, set up the goal for Kane. Obviously, you kind of feel like Southgate might end up making a change, and Saka might end up back on the bench. And if he does, it's a shame for him, but he's still going to be heavily involved, you would expect as well. It's just the way it is with tournament football. So big couple of days coming up in the internationals, first for Switzerland, then for England, and we'll see if Arsenal manage to get their remaining 2 players left at the tournament through to the semi-finals. That's about it for today's video, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. As always, please do enjoy your Friday and stay tuned to my social media channels and goal.com for all the Arsenal news as it happens today, tomorrow, Sunday, whenever. Have a good weekend, everyone. I'll speak to you soon.